What do you do when you think God is asking you to do something, but you're not quite sure how to do it? Like the direction isn't clear. So you just sit still, waiting for the skies to part. The very clear message to like plop in your lap so that you know every single step to take so that it is safe in taking those steps. Do you know what I mean? Anybody? I've had this idea floating in my head for about a year, but it's been in the last couple months that I started to feel a little bit of this like angst feeling that typically means it's time to start moving. And so I started talking to people about this idea. And the more I talked to people and the more I was exploring the idea, the more confused I got. And then the more nervous I got, because then I started thinking, well, first, let me tell you what the idea is. So I envision these 6 or 8 people around a circle reading the Bible. Wow, Melissa, that sounds like a Bible study. Really intriguing. Not quite. This is more coming to a group with no homework, no prep.
What on the ever-loving earth is going on?
And more like a laboratory. Think like a Bible lab where you do the researching together, you do the studying together, you're experimenting with ideas and ways of thinking and pushing back and forth on one another as we try to draw conclusions with one another about what does this really say and what does that really mean. Learning how to learn together. I'm fascinated by it, and I personally want to know more about it. As I'm thinking about this in my head, it sounds like a great idea, but then when I start articulating it, then I start to get nervous. What if this thing fails? What if the 6 or 8 people I ask are like, this is terrible, and I wish you would have never asked me, and it's a waste of my time, and what if I'm dreaming this up and God's not in it, and so then it just totally flops and fails? I've been around this train before with Andy, my ministry partner, as we develop truth groups. In truth groups, there's no leader, no teacher. It is just learning from one another and everybody bringing what they've learned at home and talking about it around a circle. This would not be any of that. This would be led by a teacher. And the teacher's job would not be to teach. There would not be like a 30-minute session of the teacher teaching. The teacher is there to prep, to guide, and to lead the group in their own learning. Have you ever been, at a river or whatever, and you jump off a rock into the water, and there's just those nerve-wracking moments like before your feet start moving? Once your feet start moving, you're okay, but it's the thinking about it before you start jumping, like you kind of look over the top. It didn't look bad when you were looking at it from afar, but now that you're up there and you're looking down, it looks really far, and you're really scared, and all these what-ifs start coming into your brain. There's always this moment where I'm like, Melissa, just move your feet. Just go. Don't think about it, because I will overthink something like nobody's business. That's where I feel like I'm at now. I actually do think even doing this, articulating it to you, is a part of like my feet moving and I'm jumping. I've started to ask a few friends and started to, in my own head, decide where we're gonna land in the Bible. Because what we're not gonna do is we're not just gonna open up the Bible and everybody just sort of tells you what they think about that. This is real digging. And there has to be a process around it. And this is what I'm most nervous about, is what is the process that the group can take that will feel like we're making momentum and we're making traction in a clear way, not just fumbling our way through. This is how I think about it, is that I want to have a life lived full of faith-filled jumps. Like I want to be jumping off rocks, right? And I don't want to live a life of misery jumping off rocks. I want to learn how to enjoy the process, the fun, the excitement of trusting God and moving my feet and trusting He's got me. Like I'm not going to hit a rock at the bottom or break my neck or whatever, that He has me. And to delight in that journey. The next jump that I will make, I will grab a couple friends, 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, and we will grab hands and run off another rock and jump and trust that God has this whole process, whatever it will be, and that it will be fruitful no matter what, because we're in His Word. So anyway, I would love to hear in the comments below where you're at in any sort of faith-filled jump, What does that look like for you? What do you think your next step is? How are you overthinking? What are the things that you hear in your head? I'd love to hear it. I'm gonna stop saying what next week's gonna be because I cannot stick to a plan.